All right, guys, I need your help. So here's the scenario. Rent's due on the 1st. It's deemed late on the 5th. It is the 5th of the month. Tenant hasn't paid the rent. What should I do? Should I A, send her a 3-day notice and tell her to pay or quit? Should I B, give her a call, or send her a text or an email and see what's going on? Maybe she could kind of break down the circumstances. Or should I C, put a notice on her door with a late fee, a courtesy late notice, I guess you could say. What's your choice? So I'm pretty sure my hard-nosed landlord said they issuing a pay or quit notice. With that, it's an aggressive way of getting them to pay. However, if they don't, they're calling your bluff. Then you got to make them quit. That means you can no longer take any money from the tenant and proceed with the eviction proceedings, which could take about 6 months. So now you're 6 months without rent. And when the court gets that person out of your property, you got to turn it over, which means you have to paint, clean it up, and market it for the next tenant. So personally, right off the bat, I wouldn't go with that option. In terms of option B, that's more of my style. I'm gonna communicate with the tenant to make sure everything's okay, one, and two, just to facilitate some type of dialogue about why they're late. Sure, they should have told me on the first, second, third, or fourth day of the month that they weren't gonna have the money, but most of them tend to run it high. So in my case, I'm going to open up that line of communication to make sure that we're on the same page and that I can get an expected date that the rent will be submitted. Of course, I'm not letting it drag out to the 15th, but if it's submitted within a reasonable time frame, let's say within the next 48 to 72 hours with a late fee, I'm okay with it. Lastly, option C. I'm rolling with option C too. Option C and B. And in addition to that phone call or that text message, I'm also putting a notice on your door. Documentation is extremely important to me. And so I want to be able to cite that if I'm called into court. Especially for my Section 8 tenants, whatever I post on my tenants' doors, I also CC their caseworker electronically, just so that everybody's on the same page, that the tenant is late, and yeah, for record keeping purposes. But keep in mind, there's no right or wrong answer. It just depends on how you want to manage your unit. Again, you could be a hard-nosed landlord, but I just caution you because once you lose that power and they call your bluff and you do nothing, then you've lost the respect of your tenant until they move out. So those are my thoughts for today. Don't forget, y'all owe me.